we go. So I'm so happy to be here. My name is Emma Brain. I'm so happy to be back here hosting with you guys. And we're going to have a lot of fun over the next 3 days. We've got some amazing artists, some amazing celebrities, and some amazing panel sessions going on. So we have got 3 legendary voiceover artists coming up to the stage right now. Are you ready to hear from them? Awesome. So please welcome up to the stage. We have Charles Martinet, Kevin Conroy, and Schemmel. Guys, come up to the stage.
Hello.
Give them a nice big Comic-Con welcome.
Hello, it's me, Super
Excellent.
Mario. Woohoo! Hi.
They're live wires, I'm telling you, so this is going to be a nice one. How are you guys all doing?
Yes, we're on. I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.
That's what we want, right. So it's so amazing to have you here, first time in Abu Dhabi. It's amazing to have the con back after a couple of years, you know, during these crazy COVID times. What are your first impressions? What are you thinking of the fans here so far?
Thinking of what?
What are you thinking of the fans here so far?
Oh, the fans have been incredible. I mean, it started on the plane coming here. The stewardesses wanted a picture. And I thought, how do they know who I am? I'm a voice. But no, everybody's been great. And what I really loved is the water here. I went for a swim this morning. It is so salty. It made my skin feel so smooth. It was beautiful.
Were you in the ocean?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
It was great.
Dude, that's amazing.
You could just float in the sea here. It's amazing. It's so saline. It's crazy.
Yeah, it felt great.
And Charles, what do you think? First impressions?
I wanted to say first, thank you very much for playing my games. Woohoo! It's me, Mario. So hi, my first impressions are absolutely wonderful. We're having a marvelous time. The food is great. The people are the best. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Hey, it's me, Goku. All right, you guys ready to rumble? Hello, King Kai here. How's it going? I'm coming from Mario World.
Yes, I have not met many fans here yet, but I understand that they are rabid and intense, and I can tell by this guy right here, he's ready. Yeah, you're ready, right? I'm thrilled to be here. The food's amazing, the people are beautiful and wonderful, and I'm having a wonderful time so far. We were in Dubai a couple days, and now we're here in Abu Dhabi, and it's a beautiful oasis of beauty. I'm just having a great
really
time.
is.
I'm so glad to hear you all say that. Now, you're all massively successful what you do, and how you got into doing what you do is kind of interesting, because Kevin, you got a scholarship to Juilliard, and you started there, and your roommate was the legendary Robin
When I was 17, I got a scholarship to go to Juilliard and to study classical theater. And I was a theater actor. And my roommate ended up being this guy that you may have heard of, Robin Williams.
Woo!
That's
wild?
insane.
But he had already been through college. So I was 17 and he was 21 or 22. So it was almost like a generational difference. You know, I was this annoying kid and he was this insanely talented improvisational actor. And I learned a lot from him. He was an amazing guy, amazing guy. He had a huge heart. He was very giving. And it was extraordinary to be at Juilliard at that time. My other classmates were Kelsey Grammer, Francis Conroy, Harriet Harris.
Was it Christopher Reeve in there somewhere
Christopher
too?
Reeve was a year ahead. Christine Baranski, Patti LuPone, Kevin Kline. I mean, it was an amazing time to be there. But we were all kids, you know. We didn't know what kind of careers everyone was going to have. But it was Mandy Patinkin was there. I mean, it was amazing. It's amazing.
Incredible. And Sean, how did you start? How did everything start for you?
Well, first of all, I almost went to Juilliard myself.
Wow.
I got into Juilliard in Eastman for classical music, but I ended up going to North Texas because there was a horn professor there I wanted to study with, and I ended up playing.
Did you bring the French horn with you?
I did not. I almost did. I almost brought it because I wanted to play while I was here, but I thought I would be too busy, which I have been. So I almost brought it, but I did not. But my start was a little stranger. I went to classical music school, and then I had started out, and this is where you guys come in, because I'm so honored to be on a panel with these guys, because it's kind of a circle of life story that when I was in college and high school, you know, I think it was college when Batman the Animated Series came out, and I had heard your voice as Batman, immediately fell in love. And then later, my friend Chris Carter, I went to college with, he wrote the theme for Batman Beyond and had worked on that as a composer, and I'd played some stuff for his orchestra at one point. And then I had always done, since I was a little kid, I'd always done voices. And then, of course, I heard your work as Mario, playing all the Mario games growing up. And so I'm sitting here with you guys, and you guys were influential on how because I learned to voice act by watching you guys. I went to music school, not acting school. And so it's really strange to be here with you guys, and I'm so honored to be in such esteemed company. I'm kind of geeking out myself because I'm fans of these guys. So it's a big deal, and this is by far my favorite Batman. Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's only one Mario.
He's Mario.
And to compliment Charles especially, one of the things he does as a voice actor that I am terrible at, and it's very difficult to do, and he's a master of it, is Mario, as you know, does not have a ton of dialogue, and neither does Luigi. And to be able to emote with just reactions and phrases that are just one word, and to give a character extraordinary depth of personality with no dialogue hardly at all is a very difficult thing as a voice actor.
It is
In fact,
hard.
I'm terrible at it, and when I get parts like that, I don't really want them. Like, I hate playing on Pokemon, even though I play a lot of Pokemon, because we only say the name of the character. We just go, whatever the name is, Lampent, or Lucario. Well, Lucario had dialogue. Anyway, how I got started, though, because I was into voices, and I was into Robin Williams, I was into Rich Little. I was always turning down the volume and making up voices, and at the time I was married to an actress, and she was looking for work and in the Dallas Observer, and they said wanted voice actors for a national cartoon, and she's like, you should do this. And I'm like, nah, I'm happy being a French horn player and a teacher. She's like, no, you really should do this. You're really great at it. And then I called a couple of my friends. I go, why are you not doing that? You're always doing voices. You should do this. And so I auditioned for Dragon Ball and got the lead. And when I got it, I didn't even know it was the lead. I'm like, oh, why didn't I get Captain Ginyu? I really wanted that part. and I was so disappointed. And then 3 weeks into recording, Christopher Sabat, the voice of Vegeta, who I did not know at the time. Yeah, he's very sad he's not here. He had another commitment. He called me up. I was 3 weeks into recording. He goes, you do realize you're the lead on this show, right? And I'm like, oh, I am? I was so Goku. I was like, what? This is great. And so it was really fluky. And so the cool thing about classical music, though, is after I got the part, I took it as seriously as I did studying the horn. Yeah. So I started studying the craft of voice acting, starting to get better at my games, trying to get better and better and better, and trying to get, become as good as these guys, right? Which I still have not succeeded in doing, but someday. I can't do what you do when I can't, but someday. And so that's how I got the start. It was kind of a long answer, sorry, but that's it.
That's fine, but it's amazing, and I love all your stories. Charles, you went to law school, and you crashed the audition.
I did.
This story is brilliant.
I didn't
love it.
actually
You
go
gotta
to
tell
law
it.
school. That was just an intention. But the reason I became an actor is because a friend of mine deceived me into taking an acting class. And I was shaking like a leaf when I did my first monologue, and then started getting more confident. And I auditioned for Oberon in Midsummer Night's Dream. And you know how it is in college. You watch
met by moonlight, proud Titania.
Yeah, I did my version down here. And I watched everyone. I knew I was the best, and I didn't get the part. And that was the moment where, okay, this is what I'm going to do for a living. And I just absolutely went for it there. But I was doing what actors do one day, 15 years into my career, and my pager went off. I was doing what we do, which is hanging out at the beach, waiting for the pager to go off.
Yeah.
And it did. And it was a friend of mine who thought, oh, good, we're going to have dinner. He said, you've got to go crash this audition. It's for this show in Las Vegas. I said, I am a professional actor. I would never crash an audition. Where do I go? And I have no idea why. I left the beach. I found a parking space. Amazing. Walked in the door as the producer was walking out, because I recognized the Sony Betacam camera package, and I said, can I read for this part? And he goes, all right, come on inside. You're an Italian plumber from Brooklyn for this company called Nintendo, and his name is Mario. So make up a voice, make up a video game. We're going to have you in this thing. You're going to talk all day. It's a real-time animation system. We don't know if it's going to work or not, but I'm not going to pay you to drink coffee. So get out there and just start talking. And I thought, Italian plumber from Brooklyn, hey, get out of my face, I'm working here, And I thought, I don't want to do that for 9 hours a day. So I thought, well, I played Gremio and Taming of the Shrew. Now you see Italian guy. I'll do that sort of voice. But I know nothing about video games except waka, 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 waka.
Right.
And I thought, well, I'll make up things about food because that's obviously a place that I enjoy. And I heard action. I said, hello, I'm a Mario. Let's make a pizza pie together. You go get some sausage. I get some spaghetti. We put spaghetti and sausage in the pizza. And then I chase with the pizza. And if I catch you with the pizza, you got to eat the pizza. And I thought, okay, that's the end of that. He didn't say cut. So I said, and then you're going to make a pizza. And I'm going to bring you the... And I just started going. He never said stop. So suddenly I was in lasagna pans going down the hill. And I started making up pasta because I ran out of them, Oh, but then we're going to make a nasta tortello. You're going to love it, that. And I went going and I kept going until I heard, stop talking. Cut. There's no more tape. And I thought, well, that's the end of that. That's the... and then that was the beginning. 31 years ago.
Wow.
31?
31 years ago.
The longevity of voice work is amazing because Kevin and Charles in particular, you have a lot of experience in front of the camera and voicing things. So the difference between the two is chalk and cheese, obviously.
What's interesting, though, is what came out of each of our stories is, when you're acting, you get multiple auditions, and some weeks, especially during pilot season, there might be 10 or 20 auditions, and there are scripts coming in, and you're being asked to do a lot of different readings, and you have to edit them because there's just too much. It always comes in waves like that, Then there'll be months where nothing's going on.
Yeah.
And during those waves, when that happens, you edit. And you think, well, I'm not going to go in on that because I don't have a chance of getting it, but I'll put my energy into this one because I really have a chance of getting this one. But all three of us in this situation went for something that we wouldn't have thought we would have gotten.
Yeah, yeah.
We all took a chance on something. And it's a real lesson in how life throws curveballs at all of us. Some of them are bad and some of them are great. Some of those curveballs are great opportunities.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing to hit,
I love that.
take a swing at them.
It reminds me of the phrase, when the student is ready, the master will appear. And I mean metaphorically that when you're preparing and you're throwing stuff, when you're ready, it'll show up, and you better be ready.
Yeah.
And so for me, the training was in classical music. For you, maybe with Juilliard, and for you with law, even could have fed into it. Who knows?
You don't
know
know.
what I mean? We went to acting school as well, but.
But that's so true because
Yeah.
Batman, think about it, of all the characters in animation, of all the superheroes, he's the only one who's not a superhero. He doesn't have any superpowers. He is the classic Shakespearean tragic hero.
It's funny that you mentioned
He
that.
is that.
My favorite thing about Batman, one of my favorite, other than the fact that he's a detective, and I was kind of disappointed in the modern movies, is that he makes all his own stuff.
Everything.
He doesn't have an R&D department. He builds everything.
Yeah.
He's smart. He does the chemistry. He's a detective.
He's the original MacGyver.
Yeah,
You know what
he
I mean?
really is.
He really is.
He really is.
I never thought of that, but it really makes sense.
But all the roles I had played Orestes, I played Achilles, I played Prince Hal, I played Laertes, Lysander. I'd done so many Greeks in Shakespeare. They're all that character. They're all that tragic, heroic character, but just put in our contemporary lexicon.
Yeah.
The Greeks had Orestes and Achilles and Iphigenia. We have Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman. There are ways of teaching morality tales the same way the classics were.
Do you feel like those classics feed into these stories of Batman? Because I feel the same way about Dragon Ball.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's based on the Great Journey West, but the reason I'm a stickler, a purist about the Japanese translation, and when they wanted to make it very American when it came out, and they've done, since Dragon Ball Z Kai, we just stick with the Japanese very clearly. But my frustration was, if it resonates with the Japanese people, it's going to resonate with everybody. We're all people, and that goes back to Shakespearean times. It goes back to the Greeks. It's the human story.
Well, do you know Joseph Campbell?
Oh,
writing of
absolutely. The
Joseph?
hero and the
I keep
myth.
going back to that.
Yep, the hero and the
The
myth.
hero with 1,000 faces. He's this great philosopher who drew analogies all through history, that there was this classic hero that reappears in the Greeks, in the Romans, in the ancient Christians, in the Jewish tradition, in the American Indians, in tribes in Africa. It's the same character of a hero who gets crushed by fate and then is resurrected like a phoenix and saves mankind. It's a hero.
And I'd be willing to bet that you and I know for myself, in our own personal lives, we have been crushed and perhaps arisen in some way at some challenging point in our lives. All of us, perhaps.
All of us have.
Everybody. That's the
why
archetype.
people relate to it so
Yeah.
much.
That is the
Because
archetype.
we all get challenged by life.
I love this. I'm going to ask, have we got any of our acting in the UAE guys in the audience? Anyone
Anybody
here from our
acting?
acting groups?
You know, whatever you
related.
do,
But
I
whatever-
hope that you find what you love to do and pursue that, because that's the gift that we got, is to do what we absolutely love to do. And I fell into it. I don't know, whether you just decided or what, but you pursued your heart. You followed your destiny.
Yeah.
And that's, again, that gets back to the hero.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had prayed before. I mean, I'm not I'm not a big prayer guy, but I had a really dark time in my life right before I got into Dragon Ball, and I was just kind of in a really low place, and I was just like, whatever that thing is out there that's gonna make life worth living, I promise if you give it to me, I will treat it like gold, which is reflective of my extreme commitment to the series over 20 years and just constantly wanting to make sure the character's committed. Also because when I was a kid, I would hate it when they would place the voice on a show, and I'm like, I want it to be consistent so that you have a consistent voice for your whole life and for many generations. And that was the whole goal of it. And I think we all feel the same way about our characters.
So, talking about the characters, I want to ask you, because what I say in a lot of our acting groups, and so many people forget about it. For me, because I do voice work too. I do.
you do?
I'm the commercial voiceover artist.
There you go.
But I've actually just got a call recently. It's bucket list. There's some local gaming producers, and I've just been asked to voice my very first computer game character.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
Congrats.
I'm so looking forward to it. It's amazing.
Congratulations.
But I always tell our acting guys, look, for me, the voice is the most versatile tool an actor has in their repertoire, in their box, right? And so I say to so many of them, when they get speaking roles, whatever they're doing, have you actually sat down just on your own or with the director and thought about what your character should sound like? And they all look at me because they haven't even thought about it. What does your character sound like? So what is with you through General, what is your approach to your characters?
There's actually two approaches. There's choices. Some people say choices, not voices. For me, a lot of people, it's about the acting and then you find the voice. For me, it's always about finding the voice and then the acting. And you can do it either way. Kevin, what about you? I knew you were about to say something.
Well, I think it's interesting because there are different schools of acting. There are different ways of approaching acting. There are actors, I think, on the stage who go to the character, who stretch themselves, embody the character by going to the character, you know what I mean? And there are film actors, they tend to be, who bring the character to them, so that it's really more about behaving. They're behaving on camera, so that all their performances are very similar. They may be a wonderful actor, but they don't transform themselves into the role. They bring the role to them.
Yeah.
When you see Bruce Willis do a role, you're watching Bruce Willis do the role, you know? But when you watch Kevin Spacey do a role, you're watching Kevin Spacey become the role. He goes to the role. And that's where you make choices about voice and stuff like that. Most film actors never make those choices because they're just bringing the role to them.
And sometimes it just comes out as you embody the character. All
Yeah.
of a sudden, you're learning the part and you're feeling, and then the spirit enters you and the voice comes out. And you're like, this is apparently what
That's
this guy
the sound.
sounds like.
Yeah.
It just happens, you know?
But I think in voice work, you have more opportunity, don't you?
Yeah.
To do the character, to change, to embody the character.
Yeah,
Because the audience isn't expecting you to sound like you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're voicing a cartoon.
Yeah,
But
and I
also-
think because
So
the
you can be
animation is
more
missing
flexible.
the person and oftentimes doesn't have as much organic nature due to lower frames or less resolution, our voice acting can be more heightened and need to require more emotive material because the gravitas of a human isn't there. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But also, you guys, you're voicing 3, 4, 5, 6 characters in one series of games or episodes or whatever it is. I mean, Charles, multiple voices in one go. How does that affect you psychologically? Switching from one to the other.
My thing is that they're just all parts of me. The character of Mario is joy and happiness and love, and is the everyman of a Shakespearean Hamlet. Except he's a guy that falls in love with a princess and devotes his life to her. And Luigi is just. I look at the character's main trait, which is Luigi fear and trepidation, Wario's anger, Waluigi's self-pity, and then I look at their
all with
physical bodies.
hardly any words, and it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's
but
amazing,
it's the
Charles.
physical characteristic that I put the weight into the voice. But it's not like I think about it.
It's funny that you mentioned that at one point, I'm not as busy now, but at one point in the middle of my career, I was working for 4 Kids and I was getting cast a lot. And at one point, I think I was doing like 36 different voices for 6 different shows.
Wow.
And I was doing, a guy down here. And then I was doing like, a crazy guy here. And then I was talking like Dr. Khan. And then I had to do Goku. You can Kai. And then it was just, and I remember laying in bed one night after a long day and I could feel my throat twitching and my brain just going, and I was being pulled. And I thought, I'm going to completely explode here if I do any more. I was grateful for the work, but it was just too much. It tears your head and your voice in a lot of different directions.
Yes, it's roses are red, violets are blue. I'm a schizophrenic, and so am I.
Pretty much. That's how it felt. I started to go, am I? And then I started thinking, my uncle was schizophrenic. Maybe it's starting to happen to me. And he's no longer with us. So rest in peace, Uncle Jay. That was in the 70s. Anyway, it's all right.
But one of the advantages is for voice work is the longevity of it. I mean, some of you guys have been voicing for like 30 plus years, but have you noticed any changes in your voices during that time? Because, a lot of stuff affects our voice. Heavy drinking, heavy smoking, don't do that, kids.
Changes?
No, shame. Changes in our voices.
All I know is when I sit next to these guys and I play the memories of when I was listening to Batman when it came out and Mario when it came out, they sound exactly the same to me, in terms of like, it sounds amazing. And that consistency is really critical. It's really key.
So you started in 91?
Yes.
That's when I started doing
Are you
Batman.
serious?
What? Yes.
No.
Yes.
Oh, how fabulous. High five.
Isn't that
We made a new one.
The same
That's
year.
amazing. That is amazing.
It went on the air in 92. We started recording it in 91.
Same here. Yep. I
Isn't
didn't
that
record
wild?
games. I just started to make my live stuff.
31 years.
Wow.
Wild.
I started in 99. I'm a little late, but still in the 90s.
There you
Still in
go.
the 90s.
There you go.
A little late. But I took
Amazing.
the spirit of you guys with me and what I was doing. Everybody I'd listened to, I was just like, how do I get better? That's all I wanted to do.
But now you're so intrinsically linked to the characters that you play. Is there anyone that could ever take your place?
I will kill them. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's possible, of course. It's always possible, especially if I were any of us, heaven forbid, to be deceased. But it could happen. I feel so weird. What I've noticed about being associated with the character so long is not so much that I'm so connected to the character as I am, but also my castmates. Like if I had to, like when we lost Christopher Ayers last year, the voice of Frieza, and acting against a different Frieza might be I happen to know who's going to do it, and I like him, but if they ever replace Chris or whatever, I don't know that I could act. I feel intrinsically connected energetically to the rest of the cast. It's very weird for me, It's very strange.
With Batman, they've actually made a conscious choice to use different actors. I mean, for the voice as well as on camera. When they started doing the on-camera work, and Michael Keaton did the first performance, and he was so incredible.
He's my
I thought,
favorite.
well, he's
My
got
favorite.
this, he's got this franchise, and this is going to be his. And then they used different actors, the George Clooney and Val Kilmer, and all these different actors were brought in, Christian Bale, and it was so interesting to see them reinterpret the role differently.
Is your
and then
favorite
with
Ben
me,
Affleck, Kevin?
With me, then they brought in Dietrich Bader. It depends on the producer. If it's going to be Bruce Timm producing, he always uses me. But if it's going to be another producer, they like to bring in their own person. They usually tell them to imitate me, which is a little annoying. But no,
That is
but
a bit.
Dietrich is wonderful at it. He's a good friend. We're close friends. So I love watching what he does or listening to what he does with it. But it's interesting to hear different actors approach the role, you know?
And Charles, what about you? Do you ever see anyone else doing what you do?
No. No, but you know, people do imitations.
Yeah.
And it's the most interesting thing because if you imitate something, you can sound exactly like it and not get the role.
Yeah.
Because you have to be the essence of the character. You have to have the innocence and joy and love, or the fear and trepidation and worry, or whatever it is that your character is. So I did an audition for Goofy to do the replacement voice, and the casting director said, "You were hands down the most accurate, perfect. You were just exactly the right sound." And I said, "And you weren't the character." And that's the thing is that somehow these other actors have to find that character or create that character from the inside.
That's why a really good director in a voiceover situation will not give you the line reading.
Yes,
They may know exactly what they want to hear. They won't give it to you because they want you to find it. And then when you find it, you inhabit it. You know, you live it. So a really good director will try to guide you, like an Andrea Romano. They'll try to guide you with certain directions to lead you to where they want you to go. Often they don't know what they want. They'll know it when they hear it, but frequently they do know what they want, and they don't give you the line reading because they want it to be organic.
I think that's why if you don't have the voice quite right, but you've got the spirit, it'll still be as convincing or more convincing. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
And the thing is, this is a little bit of a side pitch, but you know, acting is a little bit spiritual, isn't it?
I call it spiritual channeling.
You
You
know?
know?
Absolutely.
You really find your whole lives, you bring things in. My first acting class, there was a guy with a stutter. And I said, you know, have you always had this stutter? We're 21 years old. He goes, no. On my 21st birthday, I went to see a comedian with a bunch of friends of mine in Las Vegas. And, you know, all of a sudden, you know, we're having dinner, the lights come on, and it's like, hey, it's somebody's birthday here. Very well-known comedian. There he is, stand up. And he stood up, he says, look at that fat, ugly kid. Oh, my God. Oh, I bet his mom can't stand the fact that he's alive. And, of course, that was his comedy. And people were laughing. And he said the more they laughed, with each one, I felt smaller and smaller. I could feel myself sweating. And I woke up in the morning with this stutter, and I've had it ever since.
Oh, my God.
So for me, that meant I will never in my life do comedy at someone else's expenses. So all of my characters,
Yes.
it always comes back. The fool is always me.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, it's just, but
Wow.
you bring those things with you.
Yeah.
You bring your whole sum of life into your character.
You do.
Do you feel like, I have a question now, because this is the way I feel. I don't know that I'm method, but I definitely feel like when I'm in the booth, I'm not me. If I'm playing Goku, I don't feel like I'm me. You know, you just kind of check out and you're the guy.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that wonderful about being in the booth?
Oh,
That
yeah.
You
I
can,
love the booth.
You
Oh, it's the
can
best.
get
It's amazing.
lost in
It's
there.
great.
Whereas on stage, you know, you are
Naked.
present.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
you. But when you're in a booth, you're inhabiting the character in your head.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can really live through your imagination.
For Dragon
Can you perform your characters just sitting down with the microphone there, or do you stand up?
Both.
Both. I
I'm
can't
better
do it
when I
sitting
stand
down.
up. I'm
Yeah, me
better
too.
when I
It's
stand
hard for
can't
me to
do
do
it
it sitting
sitting
down, only because there's a lot of screaming and you need a lot of diaphragmatic
Yeah.
room,
Yeah.
you know, and I
Yeah.
like to stand it. The energy's better, but I
I'm
can
better
do
when
it
I
sitting
stand.
down if I have to.
You know who's scary to be in the booth with? Mark Hamill.
I'll bet.
He's always standing up, and I'm standing up, and he'll be like, "Ah, Betty!" And he spits a lot. You know, he's an actor who spits. And so I'm there, and I'm going, "Whoa, Mark, no!"
You get your own pop screen for your face.
So, do you have any weird booth stories? We all have weird booth stories.
Oh, Andrea
weird
Romano
things happens
always,
in the booth.
always has to come in and separate Mark Hamill and I. Always. Because she said, you guys become 12-year-old boys if you're in there too long together. And after we're in there for like half an hour, you go, okay, I'm coming in. We're taking a break. You've got to be separated. Because we start behaving really badly.
Oh, great.
I mean, a lot of mine aren't repeatable. And we used to prank each other. I mean, I did leave Laura Bailey a fart in the booth once. You know.
Oh no.
I mean, I was much younger. It was very inappropriate, but I thought it was funny at the time, and so I bombed her because I knew she was coming in next, and I was like, hee 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 hee. Yeah. It was in retrospect, it's probably not very. It was funny at the time.
I'm not working with you next week.
I
No, don't.
If he gets in the lift, we'll just wait
Yeah,
4 or
don't,
5
don't.
later.
Yeah.
You know, I work in a void now. It's been years. I just, I record everywhere in the world, and I call myself the Under the Covers production company because I stick my microphone underneath the bed covers, cover myself, and perform. And that's what I do.
That's
You
hilarious.
can do it anywhere now.
Yeah.
You can do it anywhere.
I almost called my production company Clothes on the Floor production company because I always left clothes on the floor, and then when I clean it up, the acoustics were worse. So I just left the clothes on the floor.
this little, the Apogee $300 microphone and this
Yeah.
little iPhone, I've recorded national commercials.
Dude, if you have a
video
treated room,
games.
that Apogee mic's a great mic if you
Great
have a
mic.
treated room. Yeah.
For 900 or something.
As a result of the pandemic, everyone had to set up home recording studios.
Yep.
And everyone converted closets into recording studios.
Oh, it's incredible. In our voice group, we have a WhatsApp voiceover group, and we're like, so where did you voice stuff from this week? And they're like, I'm in the car hiding in the footwell.
Yeah,
It's got
yeah.
great acoustics with a blank over my head. I'm in the
Yeah.
cupboard. I'm under the duvet.
Right.
And this is what everybody's doing. It's
But it was the
amazing.
one aspect of the business that kept functioning. I
Yes.
mean, I felt guilty because all my on-camera actors, friends, weren't working. It was a rough 2 years, really rough 2
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. But we made it.
But
Yeah,
we're
we
here.
We are.
We're here.
Science!
In your beautiful country. And what a pleasure to be here.
So have you ever used any of your character voices in public situations? We know there's been some pizza ordering. We know there's been some
I
pizza
call it
ordering.
using my voice acting powers for good or evil. And before I was a voice actor, I would use my ability to mimic voices to get free stuff sometimes. I worked at Steak and Ale, and I could do a particular and perfect impression of my manager, and so he always got free steaks. And so I would call the back of the kitchen and say, "Hey, it's Greg. I want a couple steaks. I sent out of my office. Tell Sean to pick it up." And he wasn't even at work that day, and I go, "I'm just here for Greg's steaks." And then I go to the other room and eat it. Because he wasn't even working. I would just do an impression of the manager so I could get free steaks.
Oh,
Or
God.
you could do all kinds of stuff with it. It's great.
The fun place I like doing voices is I live in New York and on the subway. And people often on the subway will be sitting across from me and they'll go, "Are you?" And I go, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And they go, "Oh, do the voice, do the voice." And if the subway is packed, it's rush hour to do, "I am vengeance, I am Batman." And to watch people go, "Who the fuck is that?"
Some crazy man thinks he's Batman.
It's hysterical. It's hysterical.
Do you know this then? I lived in New York for 10 years. So you know, stand clear of the closing doors, please. I didn't do that voice, but I love doing an
That's very
impression of
good.
it.
That's very good. That's a very good impression, actually.
Charles, where does Mario come up the most?
No, I dream as Mario. I fly around over these giant lakes and that blue light from the Galaxy 2 cover. I do that, but it's so sacred to me. That I'll do it if somebody asks me.
I
But,
just picture you sleeping, smiling, and in your head it's going. And you're like
Yeah.
smiling. Da-da-da-dum.
yeah.
So what advice would you guys have for anyone that would like to get into voice acting and to explore this world? Because I love it. I think it's fascinating.
It is
And it's
fascinating.
such a brilliant world to be part of.
I think a big thing to remember is that a lot of people think that voice acting is about making goofy voices. Yeah. It's about creating a character.
Yes.
Yeah.
The whole character, and only having your voice to paint it, to create that character. But it's about acting. Voice acting is acting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
The
think that's
operative
a
word
big
is
thing
acting.
to remember.
Yeah.
D. Bradley Baker has a webpage. I don't know. iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. And he's spent years, developing this webpage. How do you create a character? How do you do the business of acting? So if someone says, "What do I do?" I'd say, yeah, absolutely. It's acting. It's just a different perspective and size and shape, but it's all comes from the same exact place.
Yeah.
And that's a good page to start on a physical thing, just to go, oh, okay, oh, this is how you do it, you know?
And something in your favor is that they really do, the studios, the casting people, they do always look for new voices. They
Yes.
really do. And I'm
Yes.
constantly working with new young people who are being brought in. The downside is that everybody wants to do it now. It used to be kind of a niche
Yeah.
group of actors. Now everybody wants to do it.
It's really true, isn't it?
it's
In the
incredible.
old days, it was like, do you do a Russian accent? But of course. What are you doing Tuesday?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But now, you know, there is a lot of product. There's a lot of opportunity, but there's also a lot of competition.
I think the only thing that bothers me, and I don't mean to judge, and it's not my way to criticize, but I believe that your desire to voice act should be about the passion for voice acting. And I've met some people that are like, I just want to get in there and get that sweet cash. And I'm like, and I can't judge that, but I feel like that's a short plan.
Yeah.
You have to have a real love of it.
And
you
you
know?
won't succeed.
You won't.
you won't succeed.
You won't succeed. But I will say this, follow your heart.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whether you want to be a truck driver or
Right.
a
Whatever
hotel
lights up your brain
manager,
the most. Yeah.
Whatever your heart says to you, and that's a lifetime journey, really.
Yeah.
The first time I heard it, I was confused and frustrated. I didn't know I could ever leave the theater. And it was my ceramics teacher, an old crone, and I said, I don't know if I should move to Los Angeles or to, and she said, well, dear, follow your heart. And I thought, oh, that's easy for you to say, but I mean, I've got real problems. And it's true. That's a lifetime endeavor. Follow your heart. What does your heart say to you? And if it says be a voice actor, I really love to do this, then do it for the love and the joy, and let the other things come. Pack your own parachute. Don't quit your day job to do it.
Exactly.
But follow your heart gently into it without judging yourself. You think this is the thing is we all have this critical eye that is more harsh on ourselves than we would ever allow a friend to be.
Yes,
And
yes.
it's most important to find yourself as your best friend. You're the person that you can rely on the most. And be that to yourself.
And
Totally.
allow yourself to be childlike.
That's the best.
I have grown so much younger as I've gotten older. When I was in my 20s, I was so serious and determined and ambitious, and I had to do the A and B and C by the time I was 25, or I'd be a failure, you know. And I just started lightening up on myself as I got
You could learn
older.
a thing or two from Goku. No,
really.
Well, he's beginner's mind. His whole character is beginner's mind the whole time. He doesn't ever grow up. He's always in this constant state of childlike, and he just likes
Yeah.
fighting the strongest no matter what, just to get better. He doesn't care. That's all
But
he wants to do.
it was actually something I really, because you have great admiration for Robin Williams.
Oh, absolutely.
That was something
Absolutely.
I envied about Robin. He was so childlike,
Yeah.
and he never lost that. And I grew to understand and appreciate that.
And I think it takes a serious force of will, because you're going to have a lot of forces, your parents or whoever or anyone telling you got to do this, you got to be this.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to very gently say, hey, Mom and Dad, I know you hate this, but it's what I do, and I
Yeah.
got to do it. And they may, I don't know, disown you or whatever if they want you to be a doctor or whatever. And sometimes you just got to you got to live your own life, not somebody else's, you know, honestly.
Yeah.
I love that. It's absolutely, absolutely. It's interesting what you guys say about being childlike and bring that to characters, and it's still a very immature market here. And when we have castings for voices here, they still cast them as if they're casting for on camera. They go, well, we need this age range, and it has to be male or female. And I'm like, no. The
Yeah.
beauty of voice work, gender doesn't matter.
Right.
Age doesn't matter. You have female artists, look at Nancy Cartwright,
Well, I was
who's
just
Bart
gonna say
Simpson.
Bart Simpson, Nancy
And we
Cartwright.
had Veronica here a few years ago, who
Yeah.
was Ash
I
in
played
Pokemon.
Goku when he was 16 to age
Exactly.
50, you know?
Exactly. So age and gender does not matter, which is why there are so many doors open to people in
Masuko
this
Nozawa
realm.
was like 86, and she's the original voice of Goku in Japan, and she still does it, you know? So yeah, it doesn't matter. As long as your voice sounds like it needs to sound, you know? And our voices age much slower than our bodies, so...
Yeah.
Yes.
So it keeps going, and it was nice what you were saying about the amount of product out there, and because there's a lot of obviously foreign language movies and series and everything. And Sean, you obviously do a lot of ADR and the dub overs.
Oh, yeah.
And all of you do. It's incredible. So the challenges of that. I mean, I dub English over Arabic here for things that English is a lot shorter than Arabic is.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's challenges in that realm.
Yeah, I wanted to say something about auditioning.
Sorry, Charles.
Yeah, do it.
Because I think it's easy to look at the paradigm that there are so many people all trying for this one job. So the competition in the general world seems like it's horrific. But if you treat the audition as the end in itself, and that you're going there not to compete for the job, but to have fun. That's your sandbox.
Yeah.
And you'll learn something even if you lose
Yeah.
the job.
Then you go in, and then you have a potential to get the job
Yeah.
because you're playing. Because that's what you're doing, is bringing what is uniquely you, what is from your heart to this, what is in your eye and your ear for this. That's what you're bringing. And if you're sitting there thinking outside looking in, as that critical voice, you'll never get the part.
Right.
You'll never get the part. You can sound perfect, but if you're out there instead of in here, you won't get it. So it's play.
Yeah.
And surrendering to the joy. Surrender to the love. It really is. It's love.
It is super fun, but I just wanted to ask about dubbing over the other languages. Sorry, because it can be a challenging thing. You know, you have nuances of other languages. So is there anything? Because obviously you're doing a lot of the anime dubs.
Yeah.
So when you're dubbing over that, are there any challenges or anything you're keeping in mind when you're doing that?
I've done less prelay than these guys, but I have done a lot more recently, and I've compared the two in a number of different ways. And the tricky part about dubbing anime originally, and there's a lot of different ways to approach it. One of the tricks is you have to get the same kind of emotion in that space and make it sound believable, whereas you would have total freedom to just do it any way you want and then they animate to you.
Right.
You don't have that. And as you do it, like when I first started, it would take me like 20-some times to get it right. Now I do it 1 to 3 times, and sometimes I just roll along with the Japanese. I've done it so much. And the key is to understand, you know, how to do that. And I've discovered over time that I also get a lot of information from the dub. So sometimes it's very helpful because it's very obvious to get the emotional content from the facial expression from the dub. And conversely, I've noticed this when I've done prelay and I've got a specific nuance I'm doing, but the animator doesn't have as good an ear as I do, sometimes the animation doesn't match what I'm doing, particularly when it comes to action sequences. So my preference in prelay is to lay down the dialogue and do reactions to picture after the fact, because then I can match their very intense animation. They don't always agree. And so it's a very, very tricky thing to get right. And I think they're both hard in different ways. Dubbing has you more of in a box, but sometimes it also gives you more information.
Yeah.
But then when you got prelay, you've got the freedom, but you're having to imagine things you haven't seen. So each one has their pros and cons. I hope that answers the question, you know.
That's fine. Kevin and Charles, how do you like to work?
Being in that box in dubbing is really hard.
It's
I find
restrictive.
it's
Yeah,
very
it's restrictive.
and it's difficult. But I think it's finding the emotion. Because if you just artificially try to fit a space, it looks like that and it feels like that and it won't work.
It's stilted.
So you've got to find the right emotion that'll make it work in that space. That's the trick for me with dubbing.
And it has to be real. I mean, I think for at least in my particular, Dragon Ball is unique in this way, but because there's a lot of screaming and a lot of powering up, and there's a temptation to kind of, oh, they'll fix it in post, I'll just kind of scream. My whole logic around it is that I think children especially are great BS detectors, and so you have to make it real. You have to believe it.
Yeah.
So every single scream, when I will not let you destroy my world, you see what I'm doing? That's all to the wall all the way, and it has to be every time, or you won't believe it, and then you won't be emoted, and then the story's less powerful, and it's a disservice to Akira Toriyama and art itself. And so it's very, very important that happens.
Yeah, no, you're
very,
right.
very important.
I think
You're
that's the
right.
worst line anyone wants to hear. We'll fix it in post.
I hate it,
Yeah, right.
you know? So,
Because you're right. You can hear a lie so much faster than you can see a lie.
yes,
You can
especially
hear
children.
in someone's voice if they're lying to you. So if you're lying in the performance, if you're not really inhabiting it, the audience will hear it in a second. So, Am I?
Oh, yeah, you're.
Oh, I'm about to fall
Don't
over.
fall off the stage.
Kill myself.
Careful, guys.
Thank you. I
Yes.
get so animated and involved.
Charles just comes and goes, I agree, and that's it.
Hey,
It's all about truth. It's all about capturing that moment, you know, and it's got to be the beautiful thing about voiceover. Because as Kevin was saying earlier about film acting, you know, it's just that all acting is being. You just be that character. Well, in a film, if your head is gigantic, you just have to feel it or think it, and you don't. But if you go, whoa, you know, it's goodbye. Everyone's going to be gone. So we get to play as big as we want, but it always has to be true.
Yeah.
Always has to be. He is Batman.
So you feel it? You feel it?
Really, truly.
When you channel the spirit, you can feel it. I remember being on a panel with Masuko Nozawa, legend, and she's just being Masuko Nozawa, and then she's like, Yosh, Goku, and then you feel the energy, and all of a sudden this bubble. I feel this energy, and I'm like, whoa, she just channeled something. I was blown away by it, and right now, I was like, there it is.
But isn't that nice when that happens and the
Lovely.
fans really, really feel
It's
it?
my favorite thing in the world to see kids just go in a Dragon Ball scene, especially just go, just freak out. It's my favorite thing.
So I know we've only got kind of a few minutes left of the session, so I want to throw it over to you guys in the audience. So I know we got questions. Where are my mics in
questions.
the audience? Mics in the audience,
Mike's
please.
in the audience, Donahue
Who wants to go
style.
first? There we go. Stand up. Tell us your name, where you're from, and what's your
It's
question.
Mike. Hi.
Hi, my name is Latif, and I am from Kuwait.
Woo!
I've been to Kuwait. I've been there.
It's here for
Beautiful
Kuwait.
country.
Kuwaitis in the house.
We see each other.
Wonderful.
So, welcome back, guys. And Kevin, your first time here in Middle East, so welcome between your family
Yeah.
here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bravo.
My question is, Kevin, who's your best live-action Batman? That's all.
Who is my favorite live-action Batman? I can't make that choice.
You
it's like
said
saying,
Ben
who's,
Affleck
who's
at
your
one point.
favorite child, you know? They're all good. They really are. I'm a big Michael Keaton fan.
Me too.
So, and I loved what he did in the first Batman movie, and I just assumed he would get them all.
Yeah.
But then, you know, so many of them were good on different levels. What is difficult with Batman is getting both Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Yes, I totally agree.
That's really hard.
When I played him in The Dark Knight Rises for iPad, I had to copy Christian Bale's. They wanted me to voice match him because he wasn't available. Or they didn't want, and I had to get approved by Warner Brothers. And I thought that same thought. Batman is much easier than Bruce Wayne, is it?
Yes.
It is. And I only
Yes.
have a little experience, but
Christian Bale's Batman is weird.
it is. You know the whole like.
Sounds
I'm
like
not
he
wearing
has
hockey pads.
It's like
You know, he's like, and then when you
Laryngitis.
and the thing with voice acting is usually there's a hook, right? And it's so nondescript, there's no hook, so it's really hard to do Bruce Wayne. I agree.
Yeah.
You were saying though, I'm sorry to interrupt. Sorry.
Well, no, just that it's hard to find actors who could do both. And I
Yes.
think that Michael Keaton came really close to doing both really well. He was wonderful. And Ben Affleck actually did a really good job with both. Christian Bale was a much better Bruce Wayne than he was a Batman.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, it's just,
You know,
it's a choice thing.
I grew up with Batman on television, and
Adam
West.
Dude, I'm an Adam West. Dude, I'm with you too.
This
I
was
loved
one,
Adam West.
He was-
You know, I have a great Adam West story. He played the Gray Ghost on Batman, and he, you know, working with him was incredible because I grew up on his Batman. So he lived in Utah, and I was changing planes at the Utah airport, and I saw Adam sitting at the airport. He was waiting for a flight. So I went over and I sat with him and we started talking, and people saw Batman sitting with Batman. And all these cameras came out, all these phones. People were freaking out that Batman was with Batman. So that was a fun moment.
Incredible. That's
He's
great.
just the most beautiful man.
He was a sweet-
Absolutely,
so,
man.
such a great loss to everyone.
Sweet man.
Where are we
He
going
was
next
beautiful.
in the audience? Down here. Yeah, come on. What's your name? Where you from? Which question?
My name is JV, and I'm from the Philippines. And good
Hi.
to see you, Sean Schemmel. I'm a big fan of Goku.
Thank you.
Yes. I have a question for you, Sean. So, when you were doing the fight between Broly and Gojira, was it you and Chris Sabat doing the shouting and the
Oh yeah, that's. Are you saying when we record as Gogeta, are we both doing the stuff?
Yes, when you were screaming, is it the both of you or just you?
No, it's both of us. So what we do is, when it's Gogeta, we came up with this system because of the language. Gogeta is Goku first, and it's Vegito when it's him first. And so when it's Gogeta, I record first, and then he kind of matches me a little bit, but still is Vegeta. And then we do it, and then they mix it and post together. But he'll hear me, copy me, and then they slide them together. And then when it's Vegito, he goes first, and then and then they slide it together digitally. But it's always us. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's go up the back somewhere, guys. I'm going to make my runners run. Can we go up the back somewhere? Because the guys in the back always get left out. Anyone
Yes,
up
they
the back?
do.
Just pick anyone in the back row
Oh,
over
yeah,
there.
the boys in the back,
Yeah,
yo.
the boys in the back.
Hello, I'm from the Philippines, and I have a question for Sean. I know that you play a Goku. Can you tell me which form is your favorite for a Goku?
Most of my life, it's been base form Goku because that's where I connect with the character, and that's really, truly my favorite. In recent years, I have come to enjoy some of the other forms like red-haired, the God Mode Goku, and then also Ultra Instinct, obviously. But I tend to connect most with base form because that's when he's Goku and he's got the power, but he's silly and he's in his childlike state, and that's really where I connect with him, you know, in his original form.
Okay, thank you.
Who we got next? Pick anyone in the audience, runners.
Great questions, by the way.
Yeah, they are. They're great. Yeah.
Where have we got next? Who we got next?
Hi, my name is Abdullah. I have a request for all three of you. Is there any chance that each of you use your original voice but speak the famous line of your other co-workers' words? Like, for example, Charles would do Kame Kame.
In my contract, I'm not allowed to do, other lines and things. I have
okay.
to do only lines that are true to the character of Mario that would be written for the character. I sort of like.
It's not my contract, but I kind of roll the same way, even though I have broken the rule from time to time.
It's
you know,
a
for
lovely
fun.
idea to have other characters switch and play.
So he
each
wanted
other's
you in your
lines and
natural
things,
voice to do
you know,
lines of other characters.
Or natural voice, or do a Batman line in Goku's voice and vice versa, or what do you mean?
That's what I'm saying. Like this one.
Yeah, thank you, though. Thank you. It's a lovely idea. I did it once and I got a phone call.
Yeah.
Oh.
Awesome.
I don't like phone calls.
I think the tricky thing to know in voice work is this is what's tricky. We play these voices, but we don't own the characters. And so you have to realize when you're a voice actor, there's this enormous power to invoke emotion, but you're also invoking an entire IP. And there's a whole bunch of other people who are in charge of it that want to protect that and make it, consistent. And so I can understand where they're coming from,
In this case, what's your favorite?
And if you want to find a replacement voice in a hurry.
Yeah.
Who's next? Where we got a question? Runners, where are you?
Sounds like
Have
things
we got
are...
any questions from the girls? That would be nice.
Yeah.
Please.
From a lady.
Question from one of the ladies.
Here's a lady right here.
Right.
Hey, lady.
Questions from the ladies.
Well, a question from the
Right.
ladies.
Here she is.
I watch a lot
Pass
of
it over
British
the back.
television.
There we go.
Hello.
Hi.
So first of all, I'm a big fan of all of you, so it's an honor meeting
Can you speak
guys.
up a little bit, darling?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of all of you, so it's an honor meeting you guys.
Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
this specific question goes to Charles.
Oh, thank you.
So as Mario, you do a quite big variety of stuff, not just like, video games, but also commercials. So my question is, what was the weirdest thing or weirdest commercial, video game, whatever that you had to do?
Do you know the weirdest thing I'm so pure with this thing, and everyone knows how pure I am with it, that I never deviate. So I never get asked to do anything bizarre. The weirdest thing for me was I was in Australia doing a media tour, and we were late to get to the airport, and we had a line around the entire block of this store, and so they were just running people through as quickly as possible, and these four boys came up, and they said, I said, what do you have to autograph? And he goes, autograph our foreheads. And I said, what? Autograph our foreheads. So I did.
What about when it comes to like actual
That was
work?
the only thing that was bizarre for me.
When it comes to actual work, like the Mario Teaches Typing game, like the floating Mario head, like that kind of stuff. Which one was the weirdest?
You know, this is actually the most beautiful question. Thank you. Mario Teaches Typing for me was what you talk about doing much with no voice. It's only because of Mario, because I've spent 5 years improvising all as Mario, but then I went in and did Mario Teaches Typing, and when I went into the studio for that, I read this, oh, you failed. You had to, you come back and try again. Oh, that was a very bad job. And I said to the producer, can I, because I really try to be positive with this character and never be harmful, because that's my credo, and so can I just change the lines a little bit? And he said, sure. So I said, oh, that was great, but I know you can do even better. Let's go. And he let me do that through the whole script, and that was the one time when I just was talking nonstop. And that cemented in me, this is who this character will always be, and there was always be positive, always be loving, always respectful. And that's who I try to be as a human being, too. I fail a little bit, but...
You know what's interesting, Charles, is you say that, and when I hear your work, I remember when I'm playing the Mario games, anytime he starts talking, all of a sudden I'm like, I'm happy. Right when I hear your voice.
Then my job is done.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and now I know where it comes from. I mean, I've known you for a while now, but for you to hear you say that is really great.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
I hope I answered that question. I know I took it a little bit my way, but come by the, we're all going to be signing autographs and things, and we're happy to talk if we have the time, so come and ask us a question, or, we're there.
We'll be here.
Lovely to talk
all
with
weekend.
you.
And I know you guys have got to jet off in a few minutes' time because you do have sessions to go off to. So just a couple of really, really quick ones to end with, guys. So where are my runners? Yeah. Hi.
Hi, my name is Faisal. I'm from Lebanon. And I have a question to ask the three of you. And this sort of doesn't apply to Mario. But have you ever gone so into character like you accidentally broke something or punched something?
Me? Oh, no. Well, that's a great question. Although I can't wait to get to Lebanon, too. I want to just tell you that much. That my friends were just, this is the greatest, most beautiful country, the seaside, the what do you call it? The Costa Brava of, the Côte d'Azur of Africa. I can't wait to get there one day. But no, it's a very great question. Do I ever lose control? As much as acting is being, we would not have many Desdemonas around if we, so we control it too. I guess so. I guess it does bring it to the point. Where is acting? And well,
So the question was,
People do ask me, do you ever lose
broken
yourself in the role,
Yeah.
in the darkness, the brooding quality of Batman? And I always say, no, I know who I am at the end of the day. I never lose my own identity.
Yeah.
It's acting.
It's acting. It's fun. It's playing in a sandbox. New toys.
I guess I didn't quite understand the question. After you're done acting,
no,
or
he
when
was
you're in
asking,
character?
have you gotten so much into character, particularly maybe during fight scenes or something, that you've broken something in the booth or smashed something or just taken it a little bit too far?
Oh, breaking something. Yeah, that happened.
If there's a question mark on a box, then I might.
You know what's funny, Charles? On my Twitch channel, I have a Mario box that lights up, and anytime I have it, because people like to ask me so many Dragon Ball questions, I have to have a time for it. So I say, when the Mario cube is on, you can ask me questions about work. And when it's off, you can't. So I go, ba-ding, and it's on. I go, okay, you got 2 minutes, go. And then people start asking me questions about, because I'm just there to have fun, not necessarily talk about work all the time. And then I shut it off. But it's a Mario cube that I just a little side note. But as far as punching things, you get kind of trained as a voice actor that you don't want to wear clothes that are noisy, and you don't want to be moving a lot because of the microphone. So you've seen video of me in the booth, and you'll see me moving around a little bit, but I'm actually trying to keep myself in control because I know the mic's going to pick it up, but I'm also feeling it. I do find that when I'm working, it's really funny, when I'm working sometimes and there's any kind of power up, this will happen every time and I don't even notice. I'll be powering up and I'm rising up on my toes, almost. And I just say, the spirit comes through you, and now you're one with the spirit. And then when you leave it in there, and then you're not that guy anymore. Yeah. And Chris will talk about, because he plays Vegeta, a very angry character, and he's he's much nicer than me, very easygoing guy. And he'll say, I'll go home and I'll be mad at my wife and I'll be mad at this. And I'm like, oh, I've been playing Vegeta all day. And he has to really shake it off. Because it's kind of the opposite of his personality. So he's talked about that before, yeah.
I've been playing Vegeta all day.
He's like, hey, I've been playing Vegeta all day. I'm sorry, honey, I'm mad. Yeah, I can't even do. Everybody tries to do a Chris
He's
impression.
got
but-
such a great
You know what's
voice.
interesting about him? His voice dropped so low. He said he lost his hair so young and his voice dropped so low. He says, man, I could go into a bar when I was in 8th grade and order a drink. Like he said it was so cool to have such a low voice at such an old age, and it gave him a young age, and it gave him access to the adult world.
That's brilliant. And I'm just going to take one more because I know the guys have got to go, so everyone's going crazy. Where is my microphone
Thank
going?
you.
Where are you? Where are you?
Come by our booths too. You know, we'll
Come
just
to the
be
quick
out
front.
there.
Quick. Oh, look at this. This is so cute. Okay.
Oh, you're gonna
go
get to the
on,
Dragon Ball
yeah.
guy.
Anyways, my name's Abdullah. I've been watching Dragon Ball Z ever since I was like this year.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just would like to thank you. You've inspired so many people.
Oh, thank you.
You know, I wouldn't even call it my personality trait, but like I've taken so much. And my question is, what was my question? My question is, how fun is it for you to go and record for the video games that you do, the Dragon Ball games?
You know, I don't enjoy the games quite as much because it's tricky sometimes because with the animation I get so much information, and I also get to kind of enjoy the story because we do it sequentially. So I'm like, oh, I'm kind of watching a cartoon really slowly as I'm working. And there's a lot more cues an hour we do. Like I'll do like 35, 40 cues an hour in a dub, but in a video game I'll do 200 cues an hour, and oftentimes I don't have visuals, and it frustrates me sometimes because it'll say light punch, medium punch, hard punch, and I'll do it, or it'll say here's the scene, and then I'll see the finish, and it's way different because I don't have the content. So while the games are rewarding to play and to be able to control my voice and once the game's done, I'm like, wow, I can move my guy around and make me talk with buttons. Recording it is not always quite as fun as doing the TV series, but I love it.
Can I just say one little thing on that?
Go for it.
That's why, for me, when I hear that, when I see that small, medium, large, ooh, ah, ee, I then, you're supposed to do take of 3. I never stop until they say, stop, we got it, stop.
Oh, that's
stop,
smart.
Please,
That's smart.
Stop. Because I want them to have 1 million sound files on every job I do.
Dude,
because
that's
it's going to
pro.
look different from what they're
That's a
saying.
pro tip, you guys. That is totally a pro tip. I don't always do that. Like I'm kind of embarrassed. That's really pro tip because you're given more than they need, and then they're going to be grateful when they go, oh, the animation's different. Wait, he did a couple of bigger ones, and then they'll get into the file and they'll stick it on there, and then the product's better.
But the difference between recording games and recording shows is night and day, really.
Absolutely.
I mean, recording shows, you do them like radio plays. All the actors are together. You get to work with the other people. There's a give and take. It's fun. Gaming, because of the way the algorithms are created and the way they're assembled, they need every soundtrack to be completely separate. So you're in the booth alone for 4 hours at a time.
And that's true with dubbing also. I recorded all of Dragon Ball alone, and my favorite thing to do is what you guys do, prelay. I mean, I remember crying in the booth the first time I did a Scooby-Doo episode because Frank Welker's in there, and I'm like, oh, it's my childhood right there. And there's 8 of us in the booth.
Yeah.
I was just playing a bit part. I was just an extra guy, but it was significant enough for me to be in the booth with everyone. And I remember holding back tears every time he went, Scooby-Doo or something.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe it. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, man.
But it's just the process is so different. It's really it's like going to the dentist. There's no fun. It's no fun.
Unless they give you the laughing gas.
Yeah, really. But then when you see the result and the game is
It's
so like
lovely.
the Arkham games, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm so proud to have been a part of it and to have voiced all that. But the process is really difficult.
Yeah.
I must be
Good
made
question.
for it because I just have a great time in there.
Doing
It's like,
games?
Yeah, love it. I
Wow.
just sit there playing it. Whoopee, I mean, that's what I do for a living, make funny sounds.
That's
make
beautiful,
me silly.
Charles.
Yeah, I'm lucky that way. I don't get
great.
to play with other people.
Yeah, now in your career though, I have a quick question. You don't seem to have played. Have you played dark or fighting or brooding characters like Batman or fighting
yeah,
characters?
I did. I've like 9 voices in Lord of the Rings.
There you go.
Things like that.
Do you enjoy it, or does Mario really your?
Oh, I love all of it. That was an interesting time when the producer said we're going to do 3 sets of 3, and I had all these 9 characters, 3 sets of 3. Then we'll listen to them. Then we'll do another 3 sets of 3. We'll listen to those, and we'll do another 3 sets of 3. And it was the only time I've ever said no. I said I have a responsibility to have a voice.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
if I do that, but what if we do one set of 3? If you have it, we move on. Right. And their response was like this. I said, I'm sorry, you can call my agent. I'm sure they can find somebody, but I have a responsibility to my voice. And another guy, so they led me to do that, and I went through it, because the whole game is screaming. Everybody's screaming. That's all you do is scream. And one of the guys that went and did this from the same agency, he did exactly as he was told. He bled from his vocal folds, and for 3 months couldn't work, couldn't talk, couldn't whisper.
Dude,
So
I'm with you.
Always protect yourself as well.
And by the way, there's a lot we could go on about it because we're out of time, but there's a lot of technique that can help protect from that. But it's tricky. You're absolutely right, Charles.
Throat coat. Throat coat.
Throat coat's very helpful.
Yes, love
really, really
yourself
good.
enough to protect yourself always.
We have to wrap this up, but it's been an absolute joy to have you guys here. Absolute pleasure. Sean,
you so much.
Kevin, Charles, give them all a big round of
Thank
applause.
you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, take it away.
Our
Thank
first
you very
session
much.
of
Thank you guys. You guys are
Comic-Con
beautiful.
2022. Thank you guys so much. You've been amazing.
Thank
Did you
you.
enjoy that? Amazing. Thank you so much, and we'll see
Bye,
you
guys.
later. There'll be more sessions during the day, and we hope to see you throughout Comic-Con sessions throughout the next 3 days. Have fun, guys. Enjoy yourselves.